Tony Jaa is one of the best martial arts actors in movie history. His groundbreaking movie Ong Bak Muay Thai Warrior, which came out in 2003, changed the genre. Recently, though, rumors spread that Tony Jaa was given a life term in jail, which made fans very worried. What really took place? It gets even stranger as you look into the case more. You won't understand how one of the most famous action stars in the world got into this terrible position until the end of this video, so don't click away yet. Real court cases against Tony Jaa. Tony Jaa got into a nasty fight with Sahamongkol Film International, the company that made him famous, but also tried to hold him back in every way. Not getting along with your agent is another thing that can ruin an action star's career right along with getting hurt. To sum up, Tony Jaa signed a 10-year deal with Sahamongkol Film in 2003 when he was just beginning to become famous. That might sound fine, but the small print was what made it wrong. Not only was this contract strict, it was also smothering. He couldn't work on anything outside of work without permission from the company. Do you know how much they paid him? It costs $1,600.00 a month. Yes, you heard that right. Imagine being in big hits like Ong Bak and still making less than some office workers. At the same time, the company made a lot of money off of his movies, and he was stuck in a deal that made it hard for him to work outside of Thailand. At first, Jaa probably didn't give it much thought. After all, Sahamongkol had made him famous. Things started to feel more and more limited as his fame spread around the world. Hollywood, Hong Kong, and Chinese directors all wanted to work with him, but Sahamongkol always said no. He wasn't allowed to take any deals, and they wouldn't even talk. They basically put a leash around his neck and told him, "You work for us and only us." To put it mildly, it was annoying. People used to think that Tony Jaa would be the next big action star and that he would bring Muay Thai to the attention of Hollywood. But now, he is in the news for a totally different reason. He was given a life term in jail. What changes for someone who used to do dangerous stunts and break box office records to spending the rest of his life in jail? What did he do? Who turned against him? And could he have escaped this terrible ending? Stay with me, because the real reason Tony Jaa is in jail is very strange. Then the real drama began. When his 10-year deal was almost up in 2013, Jaa thought he was finally free. But Sahamongkol had something else in mind. They said that they had already gave him a new 10-year deal that would last until 2023. This is where things get sketchy. The letter of extension wasn't sent to Jaa, but to his sister in Surin, which is in a different part of Thailand. Also, guess what? It was signed by her. When Jaa found out he was still under contract for another 10 years, he didn't agree to any of it. You're right, that does sound crazy. Jaa was done at this point. He hired a lawyer and called it all business slavery. His team said that the contract was not valid because it had expired in 2013 and could not be renewed. It turned into a full-on court case. Fast and Furious 7 comes along just when you thought things couldn't get any crazier. Getting a part in Furious 7 was a big deal for Jaa because it was his first time in Hollywood and a chance to stop being just a Thai action star. Sahamongkol wouldn't have it, though. He was sued for $49 million, 0 cents by Universal Pictures, United International Pictures, and himself, because they said he wasn't qualified for the job. They held a press meeting to call him out. Their point of view? They spent a lot of money to make Jaa famous, and now that he was making money, they wanted a piece of the action. They added some extra 7S as well. Interest of 5%, because why not? Normally, these kinds of cases take years to finish, but Sahamongkol wasn't just suing. They were also trying to stop him from working. They even got a court order in 2015 to keep Furious 7 from coming out in Thailand. Could you picture that? While the movie was a worldwide hit, it was being held up in court in Jaa's home country because of a disagreement over a contract. Talk about a bad dream. There's no drinking going on out there. Oh, no, you had. No. Also in danger were Skin Trade, his action movie with Dolph Lundgren, and SPL2, A Time for Consequences. Another movie, A Man Will Rise, got totally off track and is still not finished. That's not all. His 2013 movie Tom Yum Goong 2 did terrible at the box office, in part because Jaa wouldn't promote it because of all the legal trouble. So not only was his job in Hollywood in danger, but so were his projects back home. It wasn't good for anyone. But just when things looked bad, something out of the blue happened. In July 2015, Sahamongkol dropped their $50 million 0 cents claim out of the blue. However, Jaa later put out a statement saying, with the help of all the relevant parties, Sahamongkol Film and I were able to settle our differences. No one knows for sure what happened behind the scenes. Because of this, we have agreed to stop all legal measures against each other. He was pretty much set free after some kind of deal was made. Even though Jaa never went to jail because of all this legal trouble, it did really hurt his business. These were the years he should have built on the success of Ong Bak and The Protector by working on bigger projects around the world and becoming one of the biggest martial arts stars of his time. Instead, he had to deal with cases and the terms of his contracts. He missed out on years of work opportunities by the time everything was over. That's a huge loss in a field where time is everything. Jaa was finally able to move on, which was good. He's worked on movies from around the world, played bigger parts, and finally has the job freedom he fought so hard for. He should have known better, though, because his story shows how dangerous these long-term contracts can be for growing stars. It's a warning that the biggest fights in the entertainment business don't always happen on screen. Sometimes they happen behind closed doors, in law firms, over contracts that can make or break a career. If there's one thing you should learn from Jaa's experience, it's that the wrong deal can ruin your dream job, no matter how skilled you are. What really challenges Tony Jaa? Tony Jaa's rise to fame may seem like a dream come true at first glance, but if you look deeper, his story is more like a roller coaster, with drops that are very high, turns that you didn't see coming, and times when you wonder if he'll ever get back on track. Being a martial arts superstar should open up a lot of doors and make you a lot of money, but for Tony Jaa, it wasn't that way. The fights he had that almost cost him everything happened behind the scenes, not in front of the camera. It all began when the huge success of Ong Bak gave him the courage to try something new by directing Ong Bak 2. But really, who could blame him? He had already proven himself to be one of the most exciting action stars of his time, so becoming a director seemed like the next obvious step. But almost right away, things got out of hand. The original goal was 100 million baht, which was a lot, but not impossible to reach. After that, the prices began to rise, and before anyone knew it, the movie wasn't making any money. The spending was said to have gone over 300 million baht by the time the second year of filming was over. The worst part? Jaa was in the middle of everything. He co-directed, starred in, and choreographed the fight scenes. He also ran his own movie company called Iara Film. One person has way too much responsibility for that, and it was clear right away that it was too much to handle. It got so bad that people working on the show could see that Jaa was sinking. The company that was backing the movie, Sahamongkol, was run by Akarapol Joe, Tekarath, and a Prasurt's family. Joe said that Jaa was under so much pressure that he needed time off just to plan the martial arts scenes for the movie's ending. Even worse, this wasn't just a small slowdown. Output completely stopped. The project was almost over because costs were going up so fast and Jaa was having a hard time keeping everything in check. Then, all of a sudden, Jaa Hey didn't exist. It wasn't a dramatic exit like in Hollywood with news interviews and public comments. In June 2008, Jaa was on set one day. Afterwards, he was gone. He couldn't be reached. His cell phone was off. There was a lot of chaos here. So, as you might expect, stories began to spread. Did he get hurt? Held captive? In what way did he break down? No one knew. His teacher, Panaritikrai, even looked for him in meditation caves because she thought he might have run away to clear his mind. But he hadn't been seen for weeks. The whole business world was jumbled, and his quick absence made things even worse for Ong Bak too. He was finally found by a Thai reporter. He did not get hurt. He wasn't taken away. He wasn't hiding out somewhere secretly, planning what to do next. The place where he was called a safe house, and he looked really tired and beaten. He was now broke because he had paid for some of the costs of making the movie out of his own pocket. He wasn't even able to pay his rent. His power had been turned off. The money problems were terrible, and they weren't just affecting his work life. They were also affecting his personal life in ways that no one outside of the business really understood. Things didn't get any better after he came back and tried to move forward. Sahamongkol took over the movie and Prachya Pinkaya, who directed the first Ong Bak, finished it. Even worse, the company chose to split Ong Bak 2 into two movies, Ong Bak 2 and Ong Bak 3, so they could get their money back. What's wrong? That choice messed up the story's flow, making both movies feel disconnected and unfinished. And Jaa lost a lot of great ideas because of it. This was meant to be his dream project and his big launch as a director, but now he had no control over it at all. The pressure was too much at that point. He was broke, had to deal with politics in the business, and had to work hard all the time, which drained him in every way. So in May 2010, he did something very brave. He quit the movie business for good and became a Buddhist monk. Yeah, he quit everything. He chose spirituality and peace over the chaos that had taken over his life. It was an unexpected move, but who could blame him? It was time for him to get away after everything he had been through. He didn't stay in the order forever, of course. He eventually went back to playing, but he still had problems even after that. His deal with Sahamongkol was still holding him back, narrowing his options and making it almost impossible for him to use his fame around the world. In the world of martial arts, he is still a celebrity, but his story shows that success isn't always as exciting as it seems. Tony Jaa worked out his body for years to become one of Hollywood's most dangerous fighters. Now, though, he's fighting for his life. The star of Ong Bak and The Protector is said to be serving a life term. How did that happen? What went wrong with the man who used to have everything? He was caught in the wrong time and place. Or did something from his past catch up with him at the end? Wait until you hear the real story of how Tony Jaa lost everything. You'll never look at his movies the same way again. What people say about Tony Jaa's imprisonment. If you've been on social media lately, you may have seen posts saying that the famous Ong Bak star is in prison for life. Doesn't it sound crazy? But for many people who saw those posts, it was enough to make them very confused. It's not a surprise either, since false information spreads faster than the truth these days. So let's clear the air. Tony Jaa is not in prison, has never been in prison, and is not even close to serving a life term. So where did this crazy story come from? Like a lot of stories about famous people, this one began with a mistake. In short, people mixed up Tony Jaa's movie parts with his real life. A 2015 movie called Killzone 2, also called SPL2, A Time for Consequences, seems to be the link between everything. In that movie, Jaa played a jail guard. What's the story? That's the story of an undercover cop who is caught, lied to, and sent to a Thai jail under a fake name. Somehow, that story was changed so that it was said that Tony Jaa was actually put up. The reports didn't end there either. People thought more about Tony Jaa when he stepped out of the spotlight for a while. He even turned into a Buddhist monk at one point. But here's the thing. In Thailand, it's normal to spend time as a monk. The reason wasn't a big change in his life, and he wasn't trying to run away from anything. A lot of Thai guys do it at some point in their lives. However, because it's the internet, people begin to say, did he quit acting for good? Does he have something to hide? Soon those rumors turned into full-on reports that he was leaving the entertainment business for good. And somehow that turned into, he must be in jail. Do you see how silly that is? Now, it only takes 2 minutes to check the facts, and you'll see that Tony Jaa has never been guilty of a crime. Nothing. There are no news stories, reports from reliable sources, or anything else. His IMDb page, still working on lots of new things. Major news sources, he was talking about his future movies, not his thought-out jail time. Don't you think that if he were really given a life term, it would be all over the news? We do know that Tony Jaa has had some legal issues in the past, but not the kind that get you locked up. Also, don't forget about his personal life. Not only is Tony Jaa's work going well, but so is his home life. Since 2012, he's been married to his girlfriend of many years, Piyarat Chatiwatananant. They have 2 children together. You can see that he's having a normal, stress-free life by following him on social media. He chooses his own projects, spends time with his family, and stays involved in the martial arts world. Really, the only thing we can learn from this is that if something is spread around enough times, people will believe it. The Tony Jaa jail rumor is a great example of how real events and movie stories can get mixed up. And let's be honest, if you're an action star known for playing intense and dramatic parts, someone will always believe the drama on screen is real. But the truth is that Tony Jaa is not locked up somewhere. He is staying at the top of the martial arts world, which is what he does best. This is yet another example of why he is one of the most famous action stars of all time. What Tony Jaa is working on now, Tony Jaa isn't slowing down at all. In fact, he's showing that he's still one of the biggest names in action movies. Because, of course, you can't leave out Tony Jaa from a movie series with so many powerful and famous actors. He played Decha in The Expendables 4 in 2023. Also, let's talk about his Chinese martial arts movie, Striking Rescue. In it, he plays Ong Bak, a Muay Thai master who is out for blood after his wife and daughter are killed. That sounds like classic Tony Jaa. What does it sound like? After a few years of playing minor parts, this movie was a big deal for him because it was his first lead role in a martial arts movie. Not that he wasn't great in those two. When he played Jack Jaa in Detective Chinatown 3 in 2021 and Hunter in Monster Hunter in 2020, he showed that he could make an effect in big Hollywood movies. But don't think he's just going to relax and enjoy the success of his past work. His future movies show that he's still trying new things in action movies. Which one is the most exciting? A huge series of Muay Thai movies. This isn't just any series. Stars Collective and Thailand's Film Odyssey Co. are behind it. Ltd. Jaa isn't just acting in it either. He is also taking on the job of executive director. Yes, he's not only playing a lead role, he's also helping to shape the whole project. He will play Surya, a young, skilled fighter who goes back in time to the Ayutthaya period for some reason. Allow us to pause for a moment to enjoy how cool that sounds. An adventure through time in Muay Thai? It seems like Jaa is giving us something new while still providing the high-impact action that we know and love. Really, only Tony Jaa could make that work. In spite of this, Jaa isn't just about movies. He knows that keeping in touch with fans is just as important as making great movies these days. That's why he's so active on social media, especially YouTube. If someone still doesn't think he's important, they should watch his most recent work and then try to say that again. Because one thing Jaa has always done is show people they're wrong, even if it means giving them a roundhouse kick. This is the end of the movie. Thanks for seeing. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to get more. Click on the movie that comes up next to read more exciting stories.